Hello, welcome to this Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to Stream Street Day 185. That's right. Wait, is that right? Should it be 186? I'll have to double check. Either way, hello everyone, welcome to the show. Welcome to a lovely Monday. Monday madness, I'd like to call it, although it's really not that mad. It's nice and warm here in the UK, and I am very excited. I've got my radio jock voice on today. Welcome to the news. That's right. Hello everyone in the Twitch chat, what up? Really happy to see you guys. Faces and Bases, Winner Dave, Born Again Manchild, Scott B, Ziggy, yes, Diadrin, get them diachasms out. I want Diadrin to know that I was looking at Thousand Suns models last night. Does anyone, 1 a.m. shop on stores and then close the browser knowing it's the wrong decision? And today's not the day to start a Thousand Suns army. That's all I want you to know. I don't know if there's another equivalent of that, but that's one of the things I do, and I should not do it. Hello to the big goldfish. Oh, yes. Hello, Colonel Cabbage. Dave Fraser, what up? Team and Cash, thanks for subscribing. And thank you to Pushy77 for subscribing. I hope you guys appreciate what I do. I appreciate you for subscribing. And Gitley for 5 months. What up? Thanks, bud. So it's a pleasure to talk to you guys today. I want to say a big shout out to my friend Chris, who's been helping me move today, which has been really nice. We've been moving. I don't really know how to describe it. I've got a new flat. It's not that fancy, but we've been sorting it out today. Toon King Tristan, what up? Thanks for subscribing, baby. Afternoon, Idiot Wind. And then someone's had Harlequins in their shopping cart for a while. So Callum, I think you'll find all of that is sold out. That's what I'm going to say. And Matt Rolasek says every night. He does that same thing every night. I got my week and a bit off work starting now, Sister Conda. Oh, man. Okay, that's good. 23 months, Michael Jordan, that's when it became personal to me. What happened with Michael Jordan? I'm not sure. So before we start off, hello. Hi, Chris. Hi, Chris. Chris, if you just knock, I should be able to hear you. Yeah. So if you guys are interested, I'll let you guys in on a personal thing. This isn't what I meant to do. Today we're going to talk about the tournament results for Age of Sigmar. That's what we're going to do. I was going to have a lovely guest on, but unfortunately their internet crapped out, so that's fine. So I'm just going to do it on my own today. But as you guys may or may not remember, if you've been following the AOS Wargamer for the past couple of years, we had a leak over there for a while because there was a hole in the roof. The hole in the roof led to a bathroom because above us there were some flats rented by students, or specifically a flat rented by students up there in not the best shape that you could describe. And so, in a smart twist of fate, I decided to take over said flats, and now I live there. So I live just straight up, baby, straight up, which is fun, and I'm really excited about that. However, obviously worried about 10 strangers on the internet where I live, so don't murder me. That's what I'm going to start off. Genius. There we go. So my walk to work now is 45 seconds. But I do have to go through a Chinese. You have to go through a Chinese to get to the flat, which is actually kind of so Cyberpunk 2077 that I'm really into it. Anyway. So every time I have a dump, you flood your own studio. Yes. So I'm just not going to use it. It's the genius. I think I've cracked it now. Anyway, right. Age of Sigmar, let's go. I'm sure some of you out there listening to the podcast, drinking your water and staying hydrated, big love to you, have started to build your Lumineth Realm Lords. I hope you guys are enjoying that. I stayed up very late last night and was painting my Skaven. So my Vermin Lord Warps here, who's not quite finished yet. But I'm pretty happy with that. It looks pretty cool. I've been writing Skaven lists, and I think later in the week, me and Mr. Vince Venturella will be talking Skaven, which is cool. Big fan of this. The Vermin Lords are just outrageously cool models, is all I'm going to say. Outrageously. Oh, Loiber, thanks for subscribing. Big love to you. What's a Chinese? A Chinese restaurant. That's what we have. Do you guys not have Chinese restaurants? Not in loves. A Chinese restaurant is it? Sorry, it's a Chinese restaurant. Not in loves a weird entry to a flat like those Airbnbs above the shopping centre. Yes, Scott B, have you been to those? Nottingham's built on caves as well. Most people don't know that it's built on really large caves, and almost all of the really old buildings here, because it's a super old city. We've got a pub over there called the old trip to Jerusalem that was like founded in like 1150. I love showing people that pub when we go there, which is fun. It's a bit crap though, but whatever. I got 4 Lumineth models left to build. Go on, Gitley, you can do it. Yeah, loads of you have been building it. Thanks. Anyway, that's I'm pretty chuffed with this. It looks pretty sweet. I'm going to do some additional stuff. I'm not sure what to do with the blades, but I'm happy. And then I've also already done my 60 clan rats, little hobby update for everyone, which is awesome. And I've also done 40 storm vermin. So I've got most of a list. I just need to do 2 doom wheels and 6 storm fiends, and I got myself some Skaven. And then I'm going to start adding like little bits like doing some warlocks. They're pretty fun. I might paint a Thanquol. I don't know where I found this Thanquol from. It was just in a box. Someone's Thanquol. And they've given him all of the melee weapons, not the guns. So he's like the worst version of Thanquol. Perfect. I'll take that. And I've been looking online, if anyone's very interested. I've been holding out online for 3D printed like Chain Reaper, Chaos Marine, the Chain Reaper cannons from Chaos Marines. I'm going to put those on a bunch of rats because I think you can do that for quite cheap, like maybe 30-40 quid, because I don't know if you've seen the Rattling Cannon list, everyone, but there's a Rattling Cannon list, and I reckon I could convert the 40 Rattling Cannons or whatever it is that you take and build a hilarious list to stream. So I'll do that later. Thanks everyone for the hype train. I love Nottingham. Oh, hopefully you guys can all come up to Nottingham and come to the T-Sports Arena and to play some games. We will be like setting up a Facebook page and people can book games and other stuff later on in the month. So that'd be cool. Right, so hope you guys had a great weekend. Thank you to everyone on those Wargamers Patreon. I've started this really badly today because I'm on my own, but here we go. Let's talk Age of Sigmar tournament results, shall we? Let's do this. Let's start off with friend of the show, Mr. Owen Jackson, ran his TTS final Hammer Time. So he did a 2-day Hammer Time event where you ended up with people going into the top, I'm going to say 16, the top 16, and then you ended up with these top 16 playing again. There were some really, really funky lists at this, and I'll read out some of the ones that I really liked. Hold on, let me just get the results. There were some really, 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 really cool lists at this event, as you would expect from TTS, and not having to do like any of the, building or painting of any of these lists, so people have been able to mess stuff around. So, I won't talk about who won. I'm going to just talk about very quickly 8th place, because this is the one for me. 8th place, Stuart Iron Guts McCowan. This is a great list. Big shout out to Hawkeye. Great seeing you at the weekend. So this 8th place list that came at the TTS event was an Ogre Moor Tribes list, Frostlord on Stonehorn, and it had the Alvagar rune tokens and Metal Cruncher. So it's just basically as hard a hit in a Stonehorn as you can want. And then there's a Tyrant who's got the Winter Touch and the Frostfang, which are the two things you kind of need to take if you're going to play in the Winterbite tribe, which is your -1 to shooting attacks if you're in your territory. So it's really good against alpha shooting, which I think is really clever. Then he's got a Fire Belly with Billowing Ash, and that is an AoE -1 to hit. It's super hard to get off. It's like a 7 or 8 to cast. But if you get it off, everyone is -1 to hit, -2 to hit in your territory, which is brilliant. And then he's got 20 Noblars, and he's got 2 lots of 8 Iron Guts and 4 Iron Guts in the Tyrant's Gut Guard. Now, he didn't win the event, but I just think it's just a cool list. Super, super cool. Anyway, so then going on to what did place. In first place was Morgoth with Shock Horror, Seraphon. What base size are Iron Guts on? I think they're on 50 mils. Can someone quote me on that? Maybe 40 mils. No. Does actually anyone know? 50 mils, I'm going to say. That's too big. No, not 40s. It can't be on 40s. What's the most ridiculous price unit that you can get, and therefore you only see on TTS? 9 Grotesques for me. Yes, Meatballs. Like, Grotesques at loads of 40k tournaments. They're normally just Crypt Ghouls. That's all grotesque events are normally crypt ghouls, is what I've seen. Anyway, so Morgoth, who won this event, and he went 6-0. So Iron Guts were on 40. Thanks, kids with SIDS. So 40 mils. So this Seraphon list went 6-0 at this event. So it's a Dracothian's Tale Seraphon list. So which is normally different. Normally, I mean, not normally. You generally see everything. But normally, Fangs of Sotek is the more famous thing. But of course, you've got Lord Croak, a Slan Starmaster, and a Saurus Ashloth Bannerbearer. And then what's really interesting about this is it's got 2 times 10 Saurus Guard, 200 points apiece. That's 20 wounds apiece. So 40 wounds there. Then it's 10 skinks, and then a full pack of salamanders, another full pack of salamanders. So that's 3 salamanders in total with all the skink attachments. So it says 12, but really it's just 3 salamanders, and then an additional salamander with skink handlers as well, and a Balewind Vortex. And this list went 6-0. So just think about how powerful this Seraphon list is. Doesn't even have the skinks in, which is a conversation we've been having all the time. The fact that the Saurus Guard are just super, super tanky, but they can also tank for the slans. But they also can just generate loads of summoning points to put more models on the board. But just understand that the Saurus Guard are okay in a fight, but understand the sheer output of those salamanders, that they can just womp everything that they run into. It's super strong. Gorka Morka, their lists are not up, but I can put the list up on the site. I could do that later. That'd be a cool thing to do. That's one of the things I should do this week, actually, is update the site. So thank you very much. In second place was Antu. We talked about this a little bit before. It's a change host, and it has got, obviously, the Lord Change, Fate Master, 2 times 10 Pink Horrors, 2 times 6 Flamers of Tzeentch, 2 Exalted Flamers of Tzeentch. So generally, pretty much what you see in change hosts anyway. And then Philip Kartev, who is the Russian ETC captain, ended up playing Fire Slayers. He took 20 Hearthguard Berserkers, another 20, and then 2 lots of 10 Volcat Berserkers, which is a mix-up, and you don't normally see that, although it's not too much of a jump around from what you would normally see, I guess. Dracothians does summon. Yeah, Dracothian's Tale is... So there's Fangs of Sotek and Dracothians, which is the summoning version of this. The Seraphon list is also really cool because it's like, if you wanted to commit to building that list, you don't have to commit to painting 80 skinks, and instead you're painting up 20 Saurus Guard, which are pretty cool models to paint up. I really like those models. And then you're just doing the salamanders, but obviously, of course, never get the Games Workshop salamanders. They're disgusting. And the fact that they sell them genuinely for money is an embarrassment to the company and to us. So find a third-party model that's something else. Don't get the Games Workshop salamanders. That's all I can ever say. What is a good counter to salamanders? All right, let's talk about this. So if you can screen them out, so their range is only 12 inches, okay? So if you can screen them out early with scout moves, that's a positive. That's a real positive. When they deep strike or when they teleport, it's got to be 9 inches away. And with 9 inches away, that means you only have to be 3 inches behind that line, which is a bit easier for you. But it's so hard to mitigate and it's super hard control. You need good board control. To stop the salamanders, you need good board control. The problem is they're going to delete so much stuff so quickly. Super, super fast. Yeah, so scout moves and screening is what you need to do, and you need to push up. You need a lot of bodies. You need a lot of bodies, and you need a lot of room on the board to deal with them. And you've got to get at them. You've got to get at them. One of the things I did this last week, actually, was Hogs of War. Big shout out to my guys in Western Australia, the Hogs of War, who are a team who played in their team tournament this weekend in Western Australia. They asked me to do some opposition reporting. I think that's the right word. So I went through all the opposition teams, and I just talked about the strengths, weaknesses, and those elements. And when I talked about Hogs of War, I have been summoned. Yes, Nick. And whenever I came to the Seraphon list, I was always like, leave a gap leave something out. It has to be something that they're going to want to teleport and get. Because once you get rid of the salamanders early, if you can get rid of them turn 1, then at least one unit of them, it really reduces them down. Because they're really destructive over time. They're great at shooting, they're great in a fight. They're super hard to alpha off the board because they've basically got 9 ablative wounds. Is it 9 or 12? It's 3 skink handlers each, isn't it? So they've got 9 ablative wounds, and then they've got 2 wounds on the salamander before you even kill a salamander. So you have to do 12 wounds to the whole block before you even actually take out any of their output, which is a real issue. So yeah, so give them something. Leave something out, give them something to hit, but give yourself the option to counterattack into that unit. Because if you can do that turn 1, because they're going to, you leave a gap, like, oh, I left a gap. Oh, no. They'll put a unit there. It's a shit plan, but it's a shit army to play against. They can teleport anywhere. They can choose what they do. And then if you want to, if you can organize it so that the thing that you're baiting out is also something that you can be really aggressive with if they give you the turn. That's the answer. But that's really it. Big screening. So what you want is lots of units that control lots of the board space, so that they can only teleport or move in. And once they are somewhere, they're trapped in, and you want to be able to counterpunch against them. But it's super hard, man. Super hard to deal with. Scouting, screening, and baiting. Okay, that's the way. But it's dealing with that is the very top. They effectively can just drop a missile wherever they want, which is fairly unique to deal with. Or deploy off the board. You could deploy off the board, but then they're still going to hit something that's on the board, or they're not. But if you give them no options when you come onto the board, then they're just going to wait, and they're just going to slowly move forward, and they're going to summon, they're going to put more units down where they are. It's just an amazing amount of output. Minuses to hit are really good. That's why I like the Winterbite list. That's the thing I talked about first. Big fan of the Winterbite list. Are there any good guides for baiting out there? No. I'll try and do one, actually, Draconda. That's fun. Hard, though, because it's always against... Seraphon would be a really good case study for baiting out units, I guess. But it really depends on your opponent not doing the thing. You effectively are like, would you like to kill this? And they're like, yes, I would. But sometimes they won't, and then you're like, shit. Okay. You could just have more salamanders. That also works as well. Also, Bone Reapers got the ability to reach out and touch them, which is... they're on a 4-up save. Like I said, you would have to get 3 catapult shots through. 3 to even, wipe out 1 salamander out of that unit. It's a really tough... You've posed me a tough question. The answer is you can't. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to be disheartening. That's not the plan. It's not the plan. But they have got the advantage. But what you want to do is take that advantage off them. So lose something yourself, counterpunch the unit, take it off the board, then move forward. And then they'll be a little bit lost because that's a lot of punch that they've got. And you need to do 8 damage to have them battle shock. You can also battle shock them, kind of. They normally have a lot of CP, so it's not really an issue. And then -1 damage in Coalesced as well. Dracothian's Tail isn't Coalesced, is it? I thought that was Starborn. Dracothian's Tail. Pretty certain. Yeah. Anyway, let's look at the other tournaments that happened over the weekend. So, there was also, over in Poland, the General's War event, which was, again, won by Pietra, who I don't think at this point has ever lost a tournament that I've seen. So Pietra was running Deepkin. I don't think we have to spend a lot of time on the list. So, yeah, it's Volturnus, Solskjaer, the Prime's in the list as well. And it's all Morsar Guard and 3 Aether Wings. Okay, so we're not changing that up. And Pietra's has been running that a lot as well. So, it's practiced. In second place was Olgierd? Sowick? He's got the OC Bone Reapers in Mortis, Praetorians. He's got Catacross. He's got Soul Mason, which is different, which is nice. He's got 40 Mortek Guard, 2x5 Kavalos Death Riders, and he's got 2x3 Necropolis Stalkers. and a Mortek Crawler, which is very cool. The Necropolis Stalkers, I think, are really sweet models. I mean, you could just replace one of those, obviously, with a Crawler, I think, but it got some really good combat in that situation. It's a funky list, and the Stalkers are a really nice inclusion. Really, really nice. And in third place, wow, Stormcast Eternals with, let's just check. What the flip is this? A Celestant Primal Stardrake, okay. A Drakesworn Templar, okay. A Castellan, an Incanter, a Vexler, Lord Croak as an ally, 3x5 Liberators, the Everblaze Comet, and Balewind Vortex. Okay, so this is the Reign of Stars list, if you guys have seen how this works. So the Reign of Stars list is where the Stardrakes give natural pluses to cast, which are bonuses. So both to the Incanter and to Croak. So they're bonuses to cast. Croak obviously can go on his Balewind. He can use Comet's Core, which is going to do mortal wounds for every unit within, D6 units potentially, maybe D3. But he's going to do D3 mortal wounds to a bunch of characters of yours. Then the Reign of Stars does the same thing, where you drop a bunch of mortal wounds all over the place on different characters as well. Did we see the Celestant Prime was in there? I don't think he was. No, he's not in there. There's too many points. Yeah, obviously, because the Stardrakes are loads of points. So then, so he just drops all of the different mortal wounds on all of the different units, and then you drop the Everblaze Comet as well. That does a bunch of more mortal wounds. So you effectively are AoEing loads of units before the game even starts from the back of the board. That's the hero and shooting phase. And then if you want to, you can throw the Stardrakes into combat and beat stuff up. That's the list. It's really non-interactive. You don't take part. You just drop mortal wounds on all the units, and you're done. And then you can really mix it up, right? Let's say you've got Giselles, are a really good example. So you would just, because it's just infinite range, you just be like, cool, I'll just drop 2d3, maybe even 3d3 mortal wounds on the Giselles, and that should knock that unit out pretty comfortably. Interestingly, it doesn't work into the Salamanders, because they're just like, cool, even if you do 9 mortal wounds, still haven't affected us, baby. And then you can also do, which is a Grand Alliance Order army, like Hawkeye saying in the chat, Stardrake, Croak, and Teclis, all in one army, which does the same thing with the Technado, Croak on a Balewind, and then the Reign of Stars, and all you're doing is just dropping mortal wounds from infinite range effectively. Just effective. Now, the weakness in the list is that it's not got many bodies. It's only got those 3x5 Liberators to hold objectives or do stuff. So if you were fighting it, you probably would just try and take those out first, not the characters, and then just hold objectives for a couple of turns. Problem is they're going to kill your characters super fast. They're going to kill your support pieces super fast. They're going to kill your fragile units really, really fast. Even just chip mortal wounds off different screen units around the board. And then obviously Croak can just push into the center. He's going to drop on his Balewind. Then he's going to be doing mortal wounds all day long as well from that. So it's pretty grim. It's pretty grim to fight. But it doesn't do tons. It does loads of really quality damage in the mortal wounds into very specific places. And so the counter list, if you will, again, keep stuff off the board, obviously, if you're able to do so. If you're not able to do so, the counter is to have lots and lots of bodies, really. And so that those mortal wounds just become basically ineffective. Problem is that those bodies then eventually will battle shock, and that's a bit of an issue because, in second place, the list that we saw with OCR Bone Reapers with Catacross and the 40 Mortek and the Stalkers, that list would probably beat the Stardrake list most of the time, I think, or it should most of the time, depending on the battle plan. So yeah, Croak is fine. Apparently, he's absolutely fine. So it loses to 200 bodies, Beastmen. Maybe. The problem is it makes loads of them battle shock. So anyway, late to the party, please start again. Yeah, no problem. I'll do it real quick. New Flat, thanks for being here. Seraphon are strong. Iron Guts are cool. That's where we're at. Yeah. Edgy and innovative. Right. So that was that event. And then over in Italy, I'm going to try and get this right, the Championship of Age of Sigmar in Italia, the Chaos Staff was won by Andrea Epis. I think I have got that right. But I don't know what Andreas was playing because I haven't been able to find the results. However, it was all on Twitch in Lega Chaos, and I did tune in for a little bit, but I don't speak Italian, so I couldn't understand it. However, it's pretty cool. It looked like a really great event. Like, it was quite busy, loads of really pretty models, which is fun, and looked super cool. But unfortunately, I can't bring you the list, but that was their Masters, I'm pretty certain. It was their Italian Masters. So I don't know if anyone has the list, but I haven't seen it or been able to find out how to get it, which hopefully we'll be adjusting sometime soon. Me and the Stats Squad are working on maybe being able to change that up in a little bit. But that's more on that in the future. Yeah. And that Russian, the Polish event I talked about as well, was only 17 people, so it wasn't particularly big. The Hogs of War event at the weekend in Western Australia was won by an Ocearch's Bone Reaper list. Their team composition was Ocearch, Bone Reapers. They had Skaven. They had Khorne. They had... I forget the rest of the lists. That's it. Lou Diamonds, how was distancing with and all that? Didn't COVID have Italy have a really bad time? They did have a really bad time. Distancing did... I'm not going to criticise today. They had an event. It was better than a pub. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. They locked down really hard when they needed to eventually, so they're better there. And that is all of all of the results. Iggy Starho says, I feel like Seraphon really is B tier right now, hoping for a 3 for 2. Yeah. And Gabawaki, thanks for appreciating my tournament. Thanks, bros. You guys are actually really keen about it. That's nice. Anyway. That's all the tournament results as stands. We were meant to be talking about the Marauders versus the South London Legion today. That would have been on if we hadn't had to postpone Super Series because of lockdown, which has obviously been really, really frustrating and knocked my confidence and my enthusiasm and my heart over the weekend. But we'll be back again at some point. There's no rat peanuts on this. So that's the end of the results. And now we're just into chatting. And I want to know how you guys are. How are you doing? And do you have any questions specifically about Age of Sigmar at the minute? Maybe let's go for some scary words. The meta, if you will. That's right, in air quotes. In air quotes. Having any results is nice. Yes, having any results is really nice. And it does really help to inform someone like me whose job, like I effectively consider myself to be like an analyst at this stage of the game as a whole and where we're at. So anything around those does help and inform my conversations. Like I was quite surprised at how well the Seraphon list did with just the Saurus Guard. But it's one of those really tough ones because Saurus Guard have got 2 wounds. So actually, when you look at it, actually that block of 10, that's 20 wounds. They're pretty tough. They're good in a fight, and then all they need is the Salamanders just go and pick stuff off, and they just win the game. Okay. Did it knock your heart as badly as the Canadian tournaments, though? Almost. That's the one. Most fun Skaven list to throw at mates for a good fun game. Oh, baby, you are right up my avenue right now. I have been writing Skaven lists like they are going out of fashion. So, most fun is got to include Doom Wheels and Arch Warlocks. Super, super fun. The ability to do all the magic out the Arch Warlocks and blow yourself up. Doom Wheels also really fun. Take the Vial of the Fulminator on the Arch Warlock as a relic, artifact. Run around. Just do loads. I just think it's super fun. Just put 1 Doom Wheel in your list and it's really cool. The Vermin Lords look great. A really good piece in there as well is the Deceiver. You can just teleport, go in, like full not Bilbo Baggins. Leroy Jenkins is the right one. I would have liked to have seen Bilbo Baggins do a Leroy Jenkins. He just runs. Oh, okay. Anyway, that's a really fun and interesting key piece in there as well. If you wanted to, you could take the Screaming Bell, try and roll that 12 and get a free Vermin Lord. It is exciting. It is exciting because it's a super low chance it's going to happen. Get a free Vermin Lord, which is super cool. The Vermin Lords are really good in the hero phase. They're okay in the combat phase. That's kind of fun. Things to avoid, Plague Monks, they're not fun at all. You could build Combat Storm Fiends if you wanted to have some real fun. That would be super weird. Doom Flayers, another great fun unit. And then obviously also Acolytes as well, but never buy the Games Workshop ones. The fact that they sell £23 models or whatever they are per one. Nuh-uh. And also I've heard potentially don't get the ones from Bungie because the distribution is real bad. So potentially just get some 3D printed from somewhere if you get the opportunity. The other thing is, Hawkeye says, Eshin are also super fun as well. You've got the Deceivers we talked about. Night Runners have got the Scout move, which is just super cool into the Skaven army. I've written a couple of lists that have done Scout move Skaven. So they've just run up on the first turn, or even just to threaten stuff in the backfield. You can use Warp Grinders to just hold whole units off the board. You just do some super fun things with the book. It's really fun. Really fun. Dwarves basically do a Leroy Jenkins and pull Smaug to aggro Lake Tower. They do. Question. I played KO this week with my cities list. I got wrecked. Any good ways to deal with alpha shooting for the Cities of Sigmar book that you can think of? So there are no scout moves available in the Cities of Sigmar book, which is really tough. The alpha shooting that you're going to get coming out of Kharadron Overlords is just really tough. It just doesn't really have much of an answer if you can't keep stuff off the board or screen off further, or most importantly, do a low drop army. Now, Kharadron Overlords traditionally aren't a particularly low drop army, like 5 to 6, so normally higher though. So if you can get as low a drop as possible, so I wrote a 3-drop Skaven lift the other day specifically to try and deal with KO. Specifically, because it really isn't an answer. They can just drop down, shoot most of your important units, and then leave. Now, KO is a tough army because if it does ever get doubled, it's in a tough spot. If it doubles, it feels like a horrible, overwhelming experience. But that's their weakness, is that if they ever are on the double, then they are just in some serious trouble. So that's, keep some stuff off the board, but low drop is the way to deal with against KO. Cities of Sigmar can also produce some pretty low drop armies. So you might have to drop units that you want to take versus units that you should take in a battalion so that you can drop low, is the best advice I can give you. The key to an army is fun, is my opponents feel awesome killing lots of models. That's also a good version as well. Just feed them things to kill, which is fun. Battle of the Five Armies happened because Bilbo aggroed everyone. He is the biggest puller of all time, is that Bilbo Baggins. So I hope that helps. Cities of Sigmar, tough position, go for low drop army versus KO. I generally would advise everyone to try and go for as low a drop army as possible, because both the Seraphon lists and the KO lists don't have low drop armies normally, in which case you're able to screen out or control the board more than you previously were. And then that means that they've got less options. But screening that board does require you to have lots and lots of models as well. So it's a bit of give and take depending on how your army works in some situations. Could you use Shadow Warriors as pseudo scout unit, presuming you'll be made to go first? You could use Shadow Warriors, but they're not like no, because the problem is the alpha. Colonel Cabbage specifically. Colonel Cabbage is talking about the fact Shadow Warriors start off the board and then you can deploy them 9 away. But if they know that, they shouldn't let you have the turn. So it only requires them to be dumb for that to work. If they're not, you fucked, is my answer to that one. So, yeah. That's my general advice against KO at the minute anyway, who are doing very well. Seraphon are really kind of taking all the heat for the Kharadron Overlords, and Kharadron Overlords are just like cruising by on a boat, like, can't touch me, I'm fine. Which is cool. Any other questions? Any other questions about the game, armies, or anything? I'm happy to take them. And I'm going to just take a small drink of water. And I suggest everyone else does the same. Stay hydrated. Ooh. Dirtlicious. And now I imagine dwarves with sunglasses just cruising by in their airship. Feet up, no problems. Yeah, maybe like using one of their guns to somehow light a cigar. I'm feeling that's the thing that they do. They're just cruising on by. Yeah, when is that Liber or Vince coming on the show? I think it's on Friday is when he's coming on, but I'll double check with him today. Speculation on next AOS releases after Sons of Behemoth and Marathi expansion. I think we're going to see several expansions, to be honest, faces and bases. I think we'll see all of the elves get an update. I think we'll see Idneth and we'll see Daughters of Cain get an update. And then after that, I don't think I'd like to speculate. Effectively, because I know. So I'm not going to, because I don't want to get anyone in trouble. How's that sound? Please give Malarian Elves Pepe hands. Why don't we see Bone Splitters much given the wounds and shooting combo, says Dave Frazier. Okay, that's a great question. Why don't we see Bone Splitters much? Inside their own book, they are nowhere near as strong as the Iron Jaws half of it. If you go Iron Jaws, you get all those access to all those brilliant buffs and the teleports, and well, you get teleports everywhere. But generally, they're excellent. The Big War is also really good for +1 to hit, +1 to wound, like super strong. So the Bone Splitters part of it just really isn't great. Also, their movement is really dependent on magic. Like it's like a very magic dependent army with not very many pluses to cast. Prayers are decent, but they're 3 pluses, so that's problematic as well. But ultimately, they don't have like a punch unit. They don't have like a Storm Fiends or a Salamanders or a Sentinels or Megaboss and Maw-Crusher, I guess, or a Crawler. They don't have that like, or Eels. They don't have like the unique key threat unit in that book. Like they've got Stabbers, so they do have Stabbers. Which I guess that's theirs. I guess theirs is that like unique piece that's like really them, but requires big movement, spells. AoE will cause like massive damage to Stabbers. So I think the reason you don't see them is they don't quite have the punch that they necessarily need. But someone's currently building big Stabbers. Okay, but yeah, I think it's a very, you have to play super hard to go 4-1 with that list, I think. Which is, some people are really attracted to that. Some people are like, I'm really attracted to that playstyle. In which case, that's a good option. I mean, the shooting that comes out of the Arrow Boys is okay for like clearing screens and doing that, but it's not great. You can also lock them up pretty well. You can lock that unit up and it's not going to do tons and really shut the shooting down. Currently building big Stabbers. Is there a new AOS book like Psychic Awakening for 40k? Do you think the lower tier armies will get boosts they need? I hope that they get boosts that they need. Talking about Beasts of Chaos. Well, it looks like Daughters of Cain are getting a boost. They don't need one. They've been sat at like 58% plus win rate since the book launched. And at one point we're like a 75% win rate. So they don't need any boost. Nor do Idneth Deepkin. They need a complete rework of their book, so that it's not the same unit 8 times. But Beasts of Chaos definitely do. Sylvaneth definitely do. Rumours of Alariel getting some changes in the future is a big positive. So you might see all of the elves get some sort of like bonuses, in which case you might get... Alariel's not an elf. I don't think Alariel's an elf. Is she? She's a goddess, but is she an elven goddess? Great question. Yeah. Psychic Awakening books all pitted favourite armies against each other, so I suspect Marathi book will have Slanesh. I agree with that, absolutely. I quite like the Bone Splitters with their movement shenanigans this Hawkeye. Yeah, okay. Alright, well, we should play. Come down, let's play some games. I was on the preview show the other day, so I was almost sure since they're doing DOK Sinesh box. Yeah, that's true. So we'll probably see Sinesh. We also more than likely going to see the Mortals of Sinesh coming out sometime soon versus Daughters of Cain. Ida Deepkin's traditional enemies are also Sinesh. So maybe they're just going to be like pushing, like maybe they're going to release Sinesh and just keep pushing them against the elves, I guess. Now that I've cleared the Tuskor Chariot stage of the game, what else is there for me to conquer? No Games Workshop, they need Alariel. They'll make Alariel worse. Yes. Alariel is of the Elvian pantheon, God though, not elf. Okay. Alright, so she's an elven god, but not an elf herself. So I think you'll see those elves versus Sinesh, and then I don't know where the game will go from that point onwards, to be honest. This expansion thing is a little weird anyway. It's definitely like leading up to Age of Sigmar 3. It's just Psychic Awakening before Age of Sigmar 3. I just really hope Age of Sigmar 3 isn't fucked like 40k is. Like, and it's not fucked. I'm not saying it's like ruined at all. You can play the most fun 40k now that I think you've ever been able to play. So that's my flag in the ground that 40k is in the best place it's ever been ever yet. But it's also a bit weird. It's a bit disjointed. There's loads of weird books in different places. And the thing I always loved about Age of Sigmar was the simplicity. If you pick up a book, you play your army, which I know has been gone for a while. So, Battle Line if Gorgons, yeah, you could do that. But Beast of Chaos getting some bonuses would be obviously excellent as well. I would expect, because we saw a really cool Beast of Chaos Warcry Warband. I think that isn't super far away from a new Beast of Chaos range. I think Beast of Chaos have sold fairly well, even though they suck. So I think that they're going to take that on board, and I think we'll see more Beast of Chaos in the future, like an actual release. However, obviously we got to expect I mean, it's been a long time since we've had Stormcast come out. Like a long time. Like Games Workshop have done super well. Like at this point, people are like, I kind of want to see some more Stormcast. Like I'm in for it. I want some more. So, don't fucking do it, Rob. I'm doing it. They need to put some more out. Like, I don't want them to do 63 units like Marines, but I would like to see some more. We're definitely going to see them anyway. The new Age of Sigmar will definitely have more Marines, Sigmarines, if you're triggered by that term, but Stormcast Eternals, that's right. That's what they'll have, the full name. They'll be there. And so, I guess, I don't know what chamber it'll be. They've done, like, cavalry. They've done sneaky hunter vanguard dudes. And so, you know, maybe we'll see them, like Queekster says, maybe we'll see the Stormcast, like, factionalized. Maybe we'll see them get, like, the Space Marine treatment. In fact, that's probably what we'll see. We'll probably see the Space Marine treatment where we'll end up with additional books. Because they love this. They've realised they can release a book and then release more books. So that's definitely what's going to happen. So I probably predict that we'll end up with a bunch of books and then some additional supplements for each of the Storm hosts. And the Storm hosts will effectively become chapters in their own right, I think, is definitely what's going to happen. Stormcast do need more. They're the iconic faction for marketing. Are they like... Yeah, I guess. No, they are. Okay, I'll start this off. The Stormcast aesthetic? The Stormcast aesthetic is a strong and good aesthetic. Don't get me wrong. Evocators on Dracolines? Baller. Absolutely baller. Yeah? Lord Incantor on Taurolon? Big fan. Yeah? Once I got over the derpy face? Super into it. Great model. Big shout out to Gannis. Yeah? However, like, are they like the models that you see or the artwork that you see and you think, yeah, that's the game for me? Well, I feel like it's like Skaven, like with like the versus what would I throw up against Skaven that's like maybe KO or Dispossessed, or they've just got like a much I know they've just got. I think they've got a stronger aesthetic than Stormcast. I don't think the Stormcast have an aesthetic that's other than like gold armored bro. Like I don't know about you guys. Like send me your favorite Stormcast art, and I'll see if you change my mind. But probably not. I think the poster child for Games Workshop. Yes, I'm not debating that. They are the poster child for Age of Sigmar. They are the marketing for Age of Sigmar. But there's nothing like Scale Marines are among 40k. No, they're not. Not even Cities has that many. Flying Dwarfs aesthetic is crisp in my opinion. Yeah, that's a good aesthetic, right? They're not that cool or good. They're just what we're chosen for marketing. Until I can get Stormcast on Battlecat and yell, I have the power, that range is dead in the war. Stormcast aesthetic is clearly bad guys, good guys. Yeah, listen, I'm not the one to judge, to be honest. I'm not an artist and I'm not the guy. Warhammer Weekly did a survey. Thanks, Prop Joe. The most popular aesthetics were Nighthaunt and Ironjaws, I think. That makes sense. The ghosts look pretty cool. Ironjaws, obviously, excellent. Yeah, orcs. It's the other thing about Games Workshop they don't really understand is there's a deep, overpowering love for orcs across the field. Whether you play them or you want to kill them. Either way, orcs, 40k and Age of Sigmar, big aesthetic. Yeah, everyone, they've got like a powerful energy. They bring it to it, and you see an orc that you get it, that you get what's going on. But they very rarely like put that out, which I'm like, I want to see more Uruks, definitely. Like, I want that Ironjaws range expanded. Oh, baby, that would be sweet. That's the one. There's something very pleasing about fighting an enemy that's happy you're killing them. Yes. Yeah, orcs are the best. Stormcast orcs, yeah. Beast School Raiders are the best aesthetic. Communism worldwide now, thank you very much. Yes, people. Okay. I go old school, elves versus goblins. Elves have also got a strong aesthetic as well. Yeah, Stormcast. Ignore Stormcast. If you just put elves, like Lumineth, great example, versus orcs, that is a fantasy image right there. That's like, I get what's going on. It's a fantasy game. I want to play it. Both model ranges look amazing. We'll ignore Ard Boys. Just pretend they don't exist. And it will that's the image. For me, that should be the starter box that just like brings people in. But whatever. Sylvaneth look cool as fuck. Evil Trees. Oh yeah, Sylvaneth have also got a really big aesthetic as well. Sure. This is the thing. I think the Stormcast isn't even maybe in the top 5 aesthetics. Like, and I'm using aesthetic as this weird term for energy, vibe. Like some marketing guys like, yeah, listen guys, we need to really like pick up the energy and the vibe of this, whatever this is. All of those words I hate, and I'm sorry that I'm using them. But I don't think the Stormcast is even in the top 5, in my opinion. Danitius has said, I'm sorry if I got that wrong, what you just described about Uruks is exactly what's lacking in Ideneth, for example. Like, their setting is so specific. Whenever I see Ideneth on the table, I can't help myself thinking, what's going on here? How does this work? Yeah, good point. Yeah, Ideneth are like a weird, like, if you just called them, if they were just eels floating via magic, you'd be like, cool, it's kind of fun. But yeah, I absolutely understand that point. Whereas if you see Sylvaneth versus, I don't know, like Chaos, I guess, then you're all about it. That's the one. Rob, have a water and stay hydrated. Thanks, bud. I will do. Thanks. Ooh. Yeah. Okay. It's not that... I think the Stormcast story is actually quite interesting. The recasting... the reforging, sorry. So the reforging, the story, all really, really exciting. And the fact that they are... I like the marine mechanic as well. I like that they're all kind of the same, but they've got a different flavour to them. I think that's cool. I think that, like, you draw some serious lines, even though you're, like, basically the same sort of faction. I would like to see more sub-faction plot lines and stories in all of the codexes and battle tomes in all of the games. I think that sub-factionalization inside its own self is super cool. I think that's really fun. I love how it works, let's say, in the Skaven. I love how it works in Marines. I'd like to see it more in Forge Worlds for Mechanicus. Like, I'm a big Riser boy. I don't like those posh boys on Mars. Disgusting. Like, disgusting. You're orange or you're dead, in my opinion. That's all I'm going to say. I actually haven't chosen my 40k Orc tribe yet. I haven't chosen. But it's whoever the Gretchen are is all for me. And also, I think that the T-Man Cash makes a really, really good point in the chat. That also because Citadel, so the guys that paint for the box art, so the heavy metal team who paint for the box art, who are super talented individuals who like literally are embarrassingly talented compared to me. However, they paint in a Games Workshop style, which is very cartoony, and I've never been a fan of. I've talked about this on the show before. I much prefer the Forge World real aesthetic, and I think the problem is a lot of the artwork for Age of Sigmar, especially around the Stormcast, is that cartoony Marvel-esque look, which doesn't vibe with me at all. Doesn't vibe with me in any way. I much prefer the kind of like darker. No, dark is the wrong term. People use, oh, it's not grim dark all the time, which is bollocks. Like, it's just more realism. I want like my Nolan Stormcast, not my Joss Whedon Stormcast. Nah, Joss Whedon, that's not fair to Joss Whedon, is it? Like, maybe it's fair to him. Stormcast Eternals are my favourite aesthetic. I'm a sucker for those masks. Really? That's interesting. Samin Johnson. Yeah, Riser. Yeah, baby. We got this going on. I would actually like to see some puny humans getting overwhelmed by Orcs, Skaven, Beastmen as a cover. Ah, okay, that's nice. They all kind of gang up and work together. That works. That works really well. I mean, another outrageously good aesthetic is the Gits. Like, outrageously good aesthetic is the Gits. Versus Stormcast, not even in the top 10. Yeah. Stormcast like a Baroque church aesthetic. It is. And it's just effectively... Oh, Tim Burton Stormcast would be... That's what they are. Are they? Yeah, maybe. Dude, the Godpalooza might be the best kit in AOS looks-wise. The Godpalooza's baller. That's my point. Anyway, I don't know how we got into this, but there you go. So, what we might see in the future. Yeah. The top 10 aesthetics. Maybe that's the show we should do tonight. Yeah, I'll do that with Nathan. That'll be fun. Gits is the most gorgeous and most aesthetic. I think there's just something about humans getting absolutely smashed by some evil faction gives a certain proper vibe to the game. I think so as well. I've talked about this before. There you go, Quickster said, something you need to relate to. I think the game should be pitched as relatable. I think that's why games that do really, really well are games that you can relate to. You know, there's a human in it that you can understand. There's people who you can see as yourselves or as villagers. That's why movies and stories that work so well around those characters. And then it makes sense why Fall Guys is such a big deal at the minute, because obviously, or Almost Home, because obviously over lockdown we've all become the kind of fat jelly beans who just dress up in big jumpers. So again, relatable stories, relatable kind of aesthetics that we can understand. I would actually like to, before I go, just shout out one thing that I actually have been really happy about recently. So the Games Workshop have, for 40k, for their Codex Marines, released a story video, or like a little cinematic trailer, but it's not quite cinematic. It is. It's art, but with some narrative. And I'm just going to shout it out as being the best move that they've made recently for launching codexes to me. Like, and if you haven't seen it, I suggest you go and watch it because it gives you goose pimples, which is super cool. And I would love to see more of that from them. I would love to see more of them understanding, like with the Gargants, I know they're coming out already, but I want to see like a 35 to minute long video on each of the Gargants, like, and it doesn't have to, like, you can just have some panning shots with some cool audio. It doesn't it will cost them like, I don't know, a couple of grand at most, a video editor's time, a voiceover artist, a script, and some artwork done by someone. That's the max. It's not a lot of money. Kick them out. I'll be all about that. Like fucking hard as nails for that in my heart. Which would just be good. Yeah. Like, and I just want to see that more. I want to see that more. So it's a big shout out that they've done that one. So if you have seen it, or if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. Maybe give it a share and just be like, this is cool. Because it hit I think I saw it hit like 1 million views on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, good. Understand that your jokey video where you just press a button, it says more Primaris is shit. That doesn't work. It's not what I want to see. If I want going to see new factions in the future, I want to be delivered the story via the medium. Video is my medium. Like, it's what, like, that's the one for me. I want to see it in a video medium, and I want it to like be a evocative story, and I want to get that in my eyeballs. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that to me, like, it sells me much. Even seeing a miniature, like, even than seeing a miniature. Let's say they were going to do my favorite, squirrels riding hippos, so squippos. They were going to do Battle squippos. Instead of seeing any of the miniatures, I just want to see like a minute long, like, backstory with some artwork moving around. Fuck yeah, that'll get me super hard for it. So what you want, a hype video so you can excuse your expenses on plastic, Queekster. It's not even hype videos. I just think marketing is a bad term for sometimes delivering an idea, and that's where I think they struggle so massively. Like, they struggle. Like, we know the Gargants coming out. We know they've got names. We don't know anything about them. But imagine we'd have delivered this artwork where it was the Kraken Eater. I think one of them's called Kraken Eater. It was Kraken Eater, and like, we heard about stories and adventures and things he'd done. Like, you just did that, it'd be fucking 11 out of 10. Like, and then you'd be like, and you wouldn't even need to see the model. You'd be hype for pre-order day. If they didn't even show you the model before pre-order, you'd just be like, I'm so fucking excited for this. And then on that day, boom. Like, your release shouldn't just be the model. Your first release should be the story. Your second release should be the model. I think they fucked that up loads, in my opinion. Okay. Do you think we don't have the Gargants yet because they're in self-isolation? Yeah. I think that's... I mean, they can't keep 2 meters distance is the main problem. It's because they're determined to paywall everything, even basic lore. But Matt, that doesn't make loads of sense, because then the lore video guys, big shout out to Mutin, Doug, any of those guys, they end up just like making these expansive lore videos which just generate shit tons of money, and it's all free to watch. Like, amazing work. So, like, anyway. Comments on the Joker Prime Roast vid were, yay, Games Workshop is self-aware, ironic, but was really just boring. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's time for us to go for the day. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to go and start working on the flat again with Chris. Join me, Nathan, James, and Dan tonight. Although I think James is away on a beach, and I think Dan has started to slowly take over the Canadian government. Not sure. Nathan Prescott definitely is somewhere, but again, not sure where. Big love to all of you. Big love to all of you for joining me today. Big well done to all the competitors who won their tournaments or did well at their tournaments at the weekend. If you liked any of those lists, I will start putting them again on the Honest Wargamer website, which would be cool. So you guys should be able to see that, and I'll try and include them in the show notes. Scribble. And then, But join me again tomorrow for the 40k adjacent show. Got some cool guests on this week, and I hope you have a nice day, whatever you're doing. Thank you to everyone on the Honest Wargamer Patreon. Literally couldn't do it without you. You guys are great. Have a great day. Look after yourselves. We're not far away from Stream Street Day 200, which is, let me just work this out. If this is 186, 188, 189. I hate that you guys are seeing me do this. 190, 189. So 200 might be the 5th of October. Oh yeah, 2 weeks. I could have just done that. That would have just added 14. I've been way quicker. The 5th of October, so maybe, which is a Monday, so maybe we'll do something fancy for day 200. If you guys are excited about that, so 2 weeks' time, we'll do day 200, we'll do a giveaway. Maybe I'll paint up a thing. That's like the opposite of what someone would want. Could you not paint a thing and give it to me? But we'll do a thing anyway, which would be cool. And then we'll all be commando. That's what we're going to be calling it, the commando point. 269, so who cares? I agree. All right, you guys have been wonderful. Thank you. Stay hydrated, podcast bros. Patreon guys, look after yourselves. Loads of love. See you soon.